Bhakti Yoga, the Art of Eternal Love. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. A reading by Jambavati Sutta Das. Introduction. Love is one of the words we use most and understand least. The problem is that there are many kinds of love. One of the distinctions we can make between different kinds of love has to do with time, duration, how long love lasts. Some love lasts a few days, some lasts a lifetime, and some last forever. Most lovers aspire for the latter, but in vain. Love between bodies is bound to be temporary, because lovers' bodies are temporary. But what about the soul? Will the lovers not meet in the eternal spiritual world, and there enjoy deathless love? Perhaps, but the question is, how do we get to the spiritual world? That requires a special kind of love, the love between the individual soul and the Supreme Soul, God. Actually, we are caught in a web of temporary, unsatisfying, loving relationships because we have forgotten how to love God. So, the spiritual love between the individual soul and the Supreme Soul is the most important kind of love. It is the only love that is truly eternal. Actually, every other kind of love we experience is just a reflection of the original loving exchange between the individual soul and the Supreme Soul. This special love is called, in Sanskrit, Bhakti, and the process for awakening that love is called Bhakti Yoga, the art of eternal love. Bhakti involves three things: the lover, the beloved, and the loving relationship. In Bhakti, all three are eternal. The lover and individual soul is eternal. The beloved, the Supreme Soul, is eternal. And the loving relationship, Bhakti, is also eternal. In the 16th century, an extremely advanced expert in Bhakti Yoga named Srila Rupa Goswami wrote a handbook on its theory and practice. He called his book Bhakti Rasmita Sindhu, the ocean of nectar of divine love. For a long time, its secrets remained locked in the ancient Sanskrit language. Fortunately for us, a modern-day master of the knowledge and techniques of Bhakti Yoga, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, known properly as Srila Prabhupada, translated the book into English and began training his students in its mysteries. Srila Prabhupada titled his translation, The Nectar of Devotion. Love, in its material manifestation, is usually associated with places. A city like Paris in the springtime, or a beach where one walked with one's beloved. In the same way, spiritual love is also associated with places. The highest such place is Vrindavan, a earthly manifestation of the internal spiritual place where God enjoys loving pastimes with His internal associates in the spiritual sky. In Vrindavan there are many temples, and one of them, the Radha Damodara temple, is forever associated with Rupa Goswami because his physical form is interred there. A small memorial to him called Samadhi rises in one of the temple courtyards. Chapter 1. What is the Nectar of Devotion? The Nectar of Devotion is a summary study of the Bhakti Rasmita Sindhu, which was written in Sanskrit by Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada. He was a chief of the 6 Goswamis, who were the direct disciples of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When he first met Lord Chaitanya, Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada was engaged as a minister in the Muslim government of Bengal, India. He and his brother Sanata were then named Dabriya Kasha and Sakara Milika, respectively, and they held responsible posts as ministers of Nawab Hussain Shah. At that time, 500 years ago, the Hindu society was very rigid, and if a member of the Brahmana caste accepted a position of service under a Muslim ruler, he was at once rejected from the Brahmana society. That was the position of the two brothers, Dabiriya Kaisha and Sakira Malika. They belonged to the highly situated Saraswata Brahmana community, but they were ostracised due to their acceptance of ministerial posts in the government of Hussain Shah. It is the grace of Lord Chaitanya that he accepted these two exalted personalities as his disciples and raised them to the position of Goswamis, the highest position of Brahmanical culture. Similarly, Lord Chaitanya accepted Haridas Thakur as his disciple. Although Haridas happened to be born of a Muslim family, and Lord Chaitanya later on made him the Acharya of the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Lord Chaitanya's principle is universal. Anyone who knows the science of Krishna consciousness and is engaged in the service of the Lord is accepted as being in a higher position than a person born in the family of a Brahmana. That is the original principle accepted by all Vedic literatures, especially by the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam. The principle of Lord Chaitanya's movement in educating and elevating everyone to the exalted post of Goswami is taught in the Nectar of Devotion. Lord Chaitanya met the two brothers Dabiriya Kasha and Sakira Malika in a village known as Ramakeli in the district of Madha, and after that meeting the brothers decided to retire from government service and join Lord Chaitanya. Dabiriya Kasha, who was later to become Rupa Goswami, retired from his post and collected all the money he had accumulated during his services. It is described in Chaitanya Charitamrita that his accumulation in saved in gold coin equals millions of dollars and filled a very large boat. He divided the money in a very explanatory manner, which should be followed by devotees in particular and by humanity in general. 50% of his accumulated wealth was distributed to the Krishna-conscious persons, namely the Brahmanas and the Vaishnavas. 25% was distributed to relatives, and 25% was kept against emergency expenditures and personal difficulties. Later on, when Sakira Malika also proposed to retire, the Nawab was very much agitated and put him into jail. But Sakira Malika, who was later to become Srila Sanata Goswami, took advantage of his brother's personal money, which he had been deposited with a village banker, and escaped from prison of Hussain Shah. In this way, both brothers joined Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Rupa Goswami later met Lord Chaitanya at Prayaga, Allahabad, India, and on the Dashwasmedha bathing Gata. Of that holy city, the Lord instructed him continually for 10 days. The Lord particularly instructed Rupa Goswami on the science of Krishna consciousness. These teachings of Lord Chaitanya to Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada are narrated in our book, Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. They very scrutinizingly studied all the Vedic scriptures in order to establish the movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on the authorized principles of Vedic knowledge. Bhakti Yoga, the Art of Internal Love, by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada. Part 2. The present Krishna conscious movement is also based on the authority of Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada. We are therefore generally known as Rupanugas, or followers in the footsteps of Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada. It is only for our guidance that Srila Rupa Goswami prepared this book, Bhakti Rasmita Sindhu, which is now presented in the form of the Nectar of Devotion. Chapter 2. What is Bhakti Yoga? Bhakti Yoga means devotional service. Every service has some attractive feature that drives a servitor progressively on and on. Every one of us within this world is perpetually engaged in some sort of service, and the impetus for such service is the pleasure we derive from it. Driven by affections for his wife and children, A family man works day and night. A philanthropist works in the same way for love of the greater family, and a nationalist for the cause of his country and countrymen. That force which drives the philanthropist, the householder, and the nationalist is called rasa, or a kind of mellow relationship whose taste is very sweet. Bhakti rasa is a mellow different from the ordinary rasa enjoyed by mundane workers. Mundane workers labor very hard day and night in order to relish a certain kind of rasa that is understood as sense gratification. The relish or taste of the mundane rasa does not long endure, and therefore mundane workers are always apt to change their position of enjoyment. A businessman is not satisfied by working the whole week. Therefore, wanting a change for the weekend, he goes to a place where he tries to forget his business activities. Then after the weekend is spent in forgetfulness, he again changes his position and resumes his actual business activities.